I'm Lauren Francis, I'm a project manager at Ella's Kitchen, and I'm going to talk to you about how teamwork projects facilitates our Stagegate process. Stage 1 is where we do our homework. So that means that someone's had an idea and then it's explored as to whether the concept would make a viable product eventually. The reason why we call it doing our homework is because we have a physical document that we call the homework document, where each team inputs and shares kind of issues, risks, things that we need to consider to make it work, and then we all come together in a meeting and basically go through the inputs, make sure everyone's happy to take the idea to gate 1, where we take it to our senior team and they give their approval. Teamwork projects really helps us to facilitate that first stage, because everyone's first task on a project is to do their homework. Immediately once it's been briefed, we create the project on Teamwork and everyone is assigned their first task, which is complete homework. That's a staggered approach, and the reason why Teamwork really helps with that is because you can individualise the different due dates, so that works really well. Each person then knows when their deadline is, which ensures that each section of the homework is completed in the correct order, which means that by the time you get to that meeting, everyone's sort of seen the relevant bits that they need to see and they're much more prepared to come together in the room and have a really good discussion. Stage 2 is where we make samples in the kitchen. So this can either be our kitchen here at Ella's Kitchen, or it might be one of our manufacturers is whizzing something up in their kitchen, and then everyone agrees this is the product we're going to launch. However, there can be challenges along the way. It's actually quite a complex set of tasks that we've put into teamwork projects, which is why it is so crucial that we've got the system to rely on, because there can be a recipe developer working on something, but then you might want input from the technical manager. So it ensures that they're following that set of tasks and also communicating with each other along the way. So it makes it a lot more likely that you're going to get to an approved recipe a lot quicker, I would say. In Stage 3, we ask a factory to trial it. So that is, I guess, what you'd call a more industrial scale trial. Usually one of our technical managers would attend that trial, work really closely with the manufacturer. Teamwork projects is really helpful and really useful in that respect, because we can't physically trial the product on an industrial scale until we've had that gate 2 sign off. That's a trigger in the system for the project manager to signal to the teams involved that we've got the go ahead to progress to the factory trial. They get a task to communicate that to the manufacturer, start booking in the trials, and I feel that without the help of teamwork projects, that could be missed. We could easily work out a process and have people already planning trials when we haven't actually had that sign off, so it really helps us to be compliant. By Stage 4, we have got a product that works on an industrial scale, and at that point we send the packaging to print. That's at the point where you're kind of agreeing to spend quite a lot of money, so it's kind of as we go along the stages, the risk and the cost kind of mounts. You're kind of at the risk of, like, if the product doesn't work, then you've kind of committed. The packaging procurement manager really needs to make sure that they're ordering that packaging in enough time, because we have quite long lead times. There's also a separate one for the project manager to inform them again that the gate has been passed, which is why, again, it's so crucial to make sure we're following the process really well through the use of teamwork projects. By Stage 5, you've done all your necessary pre-production activities. At that point, the senior team is giving the green light to go ahead for full production. The factory then ships the product to our warehouse, and then customers order, and then it's on shelf. So the launch date is part of Stage 5, and also Stage 5 encompasses all of those sort of post-launch review activities. Once it's launched in store, there's a few things. We have a wrap-up meeting. Teamwork projects is really helpful in making sure we're not missing anything once the product's launched, because what you really don't want is to just launch it and forget about it. You want to make sure you're following up and making sure you're tracking sales and that kind of thing. We then have a few months of gap. We wait to see how it's performing, and then at the end of Stage 5, before we close the project, we have a Gate 5 review meeting where we kind of look back at the project as a whole, but also at the product, and kind of talk about it holistically. Make sure we're capturing any lessons, which Teamwork Projects is also really useful for, as you can create lesson tags and then you can look back on them for future projects. We find that really useful. And then once we've had that meeting, we present it to our senior team and they agree with our recommendation to either keep the product in market or to monitor it or to delist it.